In this module, we are going to talk about the lab number 19. Okay, so the module number 19, the lab for implementing a compliance and security for your Azure DevOps pipeline. We are going to implement a security and compliance for the Azure DevOps pipeline. In this module, we are going to talk about how we can implement Azure White Source Bolt into Azure DevOps pipeline. Azure White Source Bolt is going to help you in terms of open source security licenses. So it is going to understand, it is going to check the license and the security. It is going to check what all the compliance requirements are. Is it going to help you? How it is going, how the risk is there? What is the risk percentage are there? Okay, so those things you are going to get it from this. So it is going to help us to detect and remediate the open source component. It is going to give me a report. Okay, we can go ahead and enforce what kind of security compliance we wanted to include into the licenses. It is going to help us to identify what is the outdated open source library which we are going to use, and that's what it does for me. Okay, okay. uh, let's do the activity. So if you look at the one, it is going to access a demo generator app, and in the demo generator app we are looking for a project called White Source Bolt. Okay, so the project name is White Source Bolt. Okay, right click onto the demo generator app, open a new tab, sign in into the demo generator app, look for the White Source Bolt. Okay, so you can go to the DevOps and find out a project called White Source Bolt and click on select template. Select the organization from the drop down, enter your project name, make sure these extensions are installed. If that is not there, you can right click and open a new tab. It will take you to the marketplace. You will not be able to find your component here. You have to click here. There's a click here button into this overview section. Okay, because they have released a new version of that. Maybe you can click on that and it will take you to a different URL. You can download from that. This is actually talking about the V2, so Azure White Source Bolt V2. Okay, click on get it free and that will get installed to your into your DevOps. So click on get it free. It will ask you the organization name of your DevOps. Select your organization name and you will be able to install your White Source Bolt into your DevOps. Okay, so select your organization and then click on install. So it will install a component. So already I'm having, so it is asking, is saying me it's already you are available. Okay, so that's fine for me. I'll leave the page and I'll hit a create project. The project will be pulled into my DevOps. Okay, so It's about to finish. Yeah. So we got the project successfully into our project, into our DevOps. I can close the project and I can come back and refresh my dev.azure.com. I should be getting here something called a white source bolt. Okay, so this is my project. I can open the project, I can go in the project. Okay, once you go inside the project, in the pipeline section, you'll be getting a white source bolt link here. Make sure you click here and there is a activate button, it will be there. Okay, to activate the white source bolt. Okay, so click on that. It will ask you the your email ID. It will ask you the name, company name. You can enter your personal email ID as well over there. That's completely fine. You can enter your personal email ID and enter your name as a company name and click on OK, and it will get activated. This is open source component which will be get installed into your pipeline. Okay, so make sure you just follow those. Okay, so once you are done with that, you should get that your version is installed. Okay, so you should get like this. Okay, there is some issue like that's why it is looks like 2 times it is appearing in my system, but I have already activated, so it's good for me. After this activation, you have to move to the pipeline and look at this pipeline. If you want to edit this pipeline, and this is the pipeline is going to do the activity for me. First option is the npm build. Okay, so we are going to run a npm install because it's a Maven build. It's npm install, and we are going to install a npm package here. We are going to run this Maven package. Okay, it is going to run a Maven package. Then we are going to run a white source bolt, which is going to scan my working directory. You can see root working directory, it is going to scan. Okay, then it is going to copy the file. Okay, and is going to publish the artifact. Okay, so our white source bolt task is basically trying to do a scanning of your root directory, which I have given it here, for the vulnerability scan for your open source security. Okay, what you can do, you can directly go, there is no modification is required, directly you can go ahead and run your pipeline and click on run pipeline, and it will start executing here. Once it get executed, you will be getting a report to check what kind of vulnerability you have, what is the issue with the pipe, what is the issue with the code, and those things you will be able to see it here. Okay, so the same thing is there in steps as well. So just going through the steps. So it is asking you, once you have got the project into your application, navigate to your DevOps. Once you go to you go in the pipeline section, you'll be getting a white source bolt component. You need to activate the component. Okay, by entering your work email ID and the company name. Okay, by selecting a country from the drop down and click on the OK. You will be getting your free subscription will be activated by the white source bolt. Okay, then you can just go and modify and trigger your build. Okay, and in the phases which we are going to do, the first step which does install and publish npm package, which is required for this build. We are going to build this Java code. Okay, uh, 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 Java code using a Maven build. We are going to scan a code for the open source vulnerability using a white source. Now we are copying the artifact, a jar file, to the destination folder, and we are publishing the artifact to the build location. So that's what we are going to do. And once the build is completed, we'll be able to analyze the report, we'll be able to see the report, and we'll be able to see what all the vulnerability which is available into the report here. Okay, so that's the thing we are going to look at this, and we'll see what all the uh, uh, reports will be able to see it. Okay, let this get executed. It's going to take a little time here. Okay, before that, we talk about the different security aspects into the Azure. We'll see a small demo for that. Okay, if you go to the Azure portal. Okay, what are the security things which talk about? There is something called resource lock. Okay, what is the resource lock means? Whatever you go for the resources, let's suppose that I have a resources and I have created let's suppose that something called this DevOps starter kit I have created. Okay, inside that, okay, we have seen this DevOps starter kit. I want to protect this resource. How I can protect? I can go to something called lock. Okay, I can go ahead and add lock here. If I'll go inside this resource, I'll be able to modify, I'll be able to change the resource setting and all. Okay, I can go ahead and delete the resource as well. If I want, I can select this resource. I'll click on delete button and I can delete the resource. Even I can delete the complete resource group. Okay, but when I want to protect this resource. This is my production resource and I have something critical into this resource group. I can go ahead and set a lock. Lock you can set onto the resource group level. Even I can go inside the resource and I can set on the resource level as well. Okay, so the resource which is available, that also I can go ahead and secure. Okay, I can show you here as well. You have a lock on resource group level. Inside the resource, if you go you have a lock on the resource level as well. Okay, so there should be a lock on the resource level as well. So either I want to only change the setting of my storage account, or I want to only lock this particular resource. I can go and set the resource lock on the resource level. What I will do, I'll go on the resources and I'll say I want to lock the resource group. Okay, I can click on add button. I can say I want to have a read lock. I'll say here I want to have a read lock. I can give any of the details here. I can say, okay, once this read lock is implemented means I can go ahead. I cannot modify. I cannot delete this resource group as well as the resources inside this resource group. Okay. I If I go and implement something called delete lock, I'll say delete lock. This is just a name. Okay, and I'll say delete means if I'm putting a delete lock means I can go and modify, I can go and read, but I cannot delete. So those kind of thing you will be able to protect the resources using a lock in the resource group level or the resources level. So that's the one thing which you have. Another option you have something called, we talk about Azure Blueprint. So there is something called Blueprint. What this is going to help you, so Azure Blueprint is basically you are going to define uh, what is the template, what is the policy, what is the role, all those things you can go ahead and configure. You are going to configure a template. Okay, you can have a blueprint definition. Okay, you can have create a blueprint definition, then you can assign those blueprint and you can track those activity, what are the blueprint is available and how that is followed. Okay, so you can have a blueprint definition, you can create a blueprint definition here, and then you're going to assign the blueprint. Like I want to have a blueprint for my basic networking. Okay, subnet or vnet. Okay, I can have different policies. I can set a particular subscription policies onto the subscription. I can have a ISO policy. I can have a HIPAA policy. Okay, healthcare initiative policy. So there are a multiple policy which is available here. I can go ahead and choose that policies. I can assign that policy. So I can select this policy. Okay, you can look at the artifact, you can give a policy name. Okay, so I can give a test, I can give some description of that, and then I'll say what is the location of this. We can choose the subscription and I can say select and then go to the next. Once you created a blueprint, now we are going to select which subscription are we going to apply to particular subscription, or we are going to add any artifact and assign those policy. Okay, that you are going to assign and then you are going to save those policies over there. So what you will be able to do, you can go ahead and define the policy. So make sure what you're going to do, we are going to define the policy and then we are going to assign the policy, and that you will be able to see all those compliance kind of requirement which can be followed by the blueprint standards. Okay, so this is just a format which you are going to define it here. So you can create apply, and track. Remember these three steps, and this could come in examination as a small questions for you as well. If you want to learn more, you have a blueprint overview here in the documentation, which is available how this blueprint is done, role assignment, policy assignment, ARM template configuration, resource group configuration, all those are available as part of your blueprint. A small demo is also available how this is available. So this is, you can refer, basically this is a channel 9, and they go ahead and post those Azure related stuff every Friday. So there's Azure Friday, and they upload some of the new sessions onto the Azure Friday. So this is one of the learning opportunity which you can go ahead and look at this channel. Okay. So that's how you can go ahead and create a blueprint, how you can assign the blueprint. So this is one of the things which you have to understand about the blueprint. Then you have something called role-based access control. Okay, what is the role-based access control means? We are talking about the resource group. So in resource group, there is something called access control. Okay, if you click on access control, what kind of access I want to give on this resource? Let's suppose that I am creating a different resource group into my organization. Let's suppose that I'm creating a resource group for my development team. I'll say this is a dev team. Okay, I'll create a resource here. Now I'm creating a staging team, production resource group. I'm creating a multiple resource group. This is the developer I'm going to create, and I have to give a complete access for the developers who can go and do this activity, or access this resources for me. Okay. So what I can do, I can go ahead and give something access to the particular group or the user who is part of my Active Directory. I can go to the access tool management tool. I can go and assign a permission here. Okay. So add role assignment. I can click here. I can search for what level of access you want to give. I want to give a contributor permission, because contributor is one of the resource who can go and create a resource, who can modify the resource, who can manage those resources. If you're giving reader app access, he will be only able to read. If you're giving to owner application, he can go ahead and give the access to the other people as well. So I want to give a developer as a contributor access. I'll select a contributor. I'll go next. Whom you want to give? Do you want to give a user or group? I can select a member from my Active Directory. Okay, I can look at the user called test user. I want to give, let's suppose this is my test user. I can have a group also here from the Active Directory. I'll select this user here, and I'll say I want to give access to this user who is having access to this development resource group, and he is going to manage that resource. No other group I'm going to give access. I'll have assigned the access to him. Okay. Now this guy, when this guy is going to log in, this guy is not going to see other resources. He will be only able to see this dev resource group. Let's go and look at that. If I'll go to Active Directory, I have the user, and this is my test user. I'll copy the user ID from here. Okay. I need to open an incognito window, and I'll say portal.azure.com. I will enter the username of that person whom I've given the access. I'll log into this user, and now you will see here he will not be able to access any other folder. He will be only able to access a particular folder, which is a developer folder. Let me go and see. I'll go to resource group, and let's see, for this user you can able to see only developer. I refresh here. Looks like some issue with this. Trying to fetch. That's fine. Okay, but you can see he is able to only see the developer folder, and he can go and create any other resources which he want inside that. I can create a web app. Okay, into the resource group. He can't select any other resource group. He will not be able to create a resource group. If I'm saying this guy to create a resource group, he's not able to create, because he's not having access outside of resource group. Resource group cannot be created inside one resource group. So one, you can't create another resource group inside a dev. You have to create a resource group into the subscription, and subscription level he don't have access, so he can't create a resource group, but he can create a web app. So I'm creating test 25th June. I'm creating a web app, a simple web app I'm creating. That's fine. No changes in that. I'll just hit review and create, and that should be done here. So initializing a deployment. So deployment will be done by this user. Okay, so this user is only having access to the development, and that's how you'll be able to control your, that's what is called as role based access control. What kind of role you are going to assign to this developer to work onto that particular application. Okay, so the deployment is process, and that will be done in some time. Okay, I'm just closing it, it will be done in background. That's fine. So what kind of role you are going to assign. Okay, what kind of group you are going to add. Okay, so you can assign a role here as well. So in the directory level role you have, overall you can have a administrator role you want to give. You want to give Azure DevOps administrator. You can selecting Azure DevOps. He is going to manage a policies for your Azure DevOps. Okay, whatever role you are going to assign, even in Active Directory you can manage it. Okay, even you can have those resources assigned into your resource group level. Okay, you can have those resources. You can see here resources are getting created because that guy has initiated that, and that guy is a contributor for me. He can go and create, delete. He will be able to do the activity here, and you can go and manage those resources on resource group level. Even you go inside the resources, on the resources also you can assign a role based access control. So for particular resource, what I want you to give access to anyone else, so that you will be able to do. So this you will be able to do on subscription level, this you will be able to do on resource group level. This setting you will be able to do onto the uh, uh, different level. You will be able to set those kind of permission into your Azure Active Directory. Okay, so this is one of the thing which I wanted to mention. We have seen Azure Key Vault, okay, that you can go ahead and see. We have seen policy before as well, so I just wanted to mention again. So you have Azure policies. So in that again, you can go ahead and create. You can see here the blueprint. Related service is a blueprint. You have a resource graph, and the user policy is a related service related to the policy. And here also you can create a policy and you can assign those policies. Okay, so you can go ahead and look at the compliance policy. You can remediate those things. Okay, how to remediate, how to fix that issues. Okay, so those you will be able to see into the Azure policy. So it detect it it is going to assess those, and it is going to remediate, okay, the issues. uh, Another which you have something called security. So you have Azure Security, which is available. So Azure Security provide a recommendation, like what kind of a recommendation you can go ahead and implement into your application. You have Azure AD, you have a security center, you have a identity security, you have a name and location security, you have authentication methods available, you have a multi-factor authentication. There are documentation which is available inside the security. So how to implement your multi-factor authentication, how to secure your identity protection, how to do that. So there are multiple documentation which you can look for that. Okay, how to implement multi-factor authentication, how to implement identity protection. That's why you talk about the identity protection. Identity protection means basically it's going to identify the risk for the user, okay, from the anonymous IP. If you are browsing, if you are browsing from the unsafe browser or something, you are browsing from unsafe location, uh, those things it will be going to identify using identity protection here. Okay, so those kind of risk which you can go ahead and assign into your security policy, and you can look at the vulnerability. There is in the security, the multiple documentation are available, how to do implementation for that. You have security guidelines, how you can have a identity, how you can secure your and identify the risk for your infrastructure, how to secure your infrastructure that you have. Okay, how to look at Azure Active Directory security white paper and other things. There is something called identity controlled access, how you can go and do the policy implementation for your application. There is something called identity protection. Identity protection is going to identify, you should have Azure AD P2 licenses, okay, to implement this feature. So you have to assign a user with the Azure Active Directory P2 licenses. And if you assign Azure Active Directory P2 licenses, he will be able to set a multi-factor authentication. He will be able to reset his password by own. We are going to set a something called risky user policy. So we can go ahead and set the risky policy if this user is going to access our data from the access the data from a particular location, or what kind of policy which you are going to assign. Basically it is going to identify that user as a risk, and it is asking you that you have to either reset a password or enter something multi-factor authentication or something else you can go ahead and assign. So this is how something which you have, we should have a P2 license, then only you will be able to do. Okay, you can have a multi-factor authentication. If you have a P2 license, you will be able to do. So these are the few security standards which you can follow to secure your environment, to secure your DevOps, to integrate DevOps with Azure, and implement multiple things into your organization. So these are the basically about the security. Okay, and coming to your DevOps, okay, we have already executed this pipeline and pipeline was success. I'm going to look at this pipeline. If I click on this pipeline, this is the last run which happened. Okay, I go here and you can find the pipeline has been executed fine. Okay, I can look at something called it is having a test plan already, so it is already executing a 5 test is executed fine. There is something called mav extension, so there is nothing is available into a maven. But if you look at the white source bolt, okay, report, so there's a new tab will be get added that is called white source bolt report, and you can go ahead and monitor, and you can say that you can check that report that what are the risk is available. Okay, uh, this risk is going to talk about something, a vulnerability with the high, medium and low. There are 70 high severity available, 10 medium is there, there's no low available. Okay, what is it's going to say tell you about, you are going using this jar library which is outdated library. Okay, you have to go and upgrade that library with this version, and it is going to tell you that there are some security flaws which has been fixed into that. They are also giving a url of that particular dll or jar file, you can say. It is going to tell you that how to update, how what is the security issues which the company has fixed, organization which had developed a open source vulnerability which they have fixed, and how to mitigate the risks. So you have top fix options and the description that what was the issue which you have. If you look at if you scroll down a bit, you'll be able to see high, and then you'll be able to see medium. Okay, so these are the medium risk, and then you have what is low as well. Okay, so high, medium and low, you are this is that is available here. Okay, that you can go ahead and analyze. You can look at the outdated library. If you scroll down, you will be having a license distribution. This is what I was talking about into the slide. You have a different licensing company who is distributing a license to you. Okay, for the open source licensing, you have a GPL licenses, you have Eclipse licenses, you have Apache licenses, you have MIT licenses. Okay, so these are some are permissive, some are restrictive kind of licenses. Permissive allows you to use those kind of licenses, that's why it is in low category. These are the permissive licenses. If you go up, it is restrictive kind of licenses. Okay, the GPL is in the restrictive licenses, that's what it is highly recommend you to update those kind of those things you have to go and update. Okay, then if you click on this, it will give you the more details about the GPL and those licenses. Click on outdated library, it will show you the list of outdated library which is available here into this application, that you will be able to find it here. Then you have something called inventories. You will be able to find a different inventory that they will be giving you what licenses you are using and what is the license attached to that, license description attached to that. Onto the your open source licenses, it will take you to open source licenses URL, and it will show you what license this is having, what kind of licenses agreement which you have which is attached with that. Okay, so that you'll be able to find, and this is giving you a complete details about your MIT, Apache, Eclipse licensing. Those details are available. So this is a complete vulnerability, and how to fix those vulnerability, that's what it is giving you the help in terms of that.